Hi everyone, it's Megan from Catherine James. Today we're going to be answering a question that we recently got on social media all about the different colors of garnets and which ones are potentially more valuable than others. So when you typically think of garnets, you probably think of the deep red gemstone that is so common. It is often used in birthstone jewelry because of course garnets are the birthstone of January. And it's typically the gemstone that is used amongst high street jewelers. It's also an ancient gemstone. Deep red garnets were found buried with Egyptian pharaohs. They were commonly used in the signet rings of ancient Rome and by nobility and clergymen in the Middle Ages. And it can be sourced on almost every continent, which helps contribute to its popularity and commonality. However, just like our follower pointed out on social media, garnets can actually be found in a huge array of beautiful colors. Another thing you might not know about garnets is that they're very similar to tourmalines in the sense that they're an actual entire group of minerals. So instead of just being a species, like when we think of corundum, which is what ruby and sapphire are, they're an entire group with many different species and varieties. And in fact, many popular garnet varieties are actually a combination of multiple species of garnets. So they are quite a complicated and complex topic to speak about. There are lots of different chemical compositions that they can have, and of course that contributes to the wide array of colors that they do come in. The third factor that makes garnets so unique is that out of the 7 crystal systems, they are part of the first one, the cubic crystal system, and the other 2 gems that are part of this group are spinels and diamonds. And so this means that when they form naturally in the earth, they tend to actually grow in a very cube-like form. It also ensures that they are singly refractive, whereas a lot of colored gems are doubly refractive. And so being able to be singly refractive means that garnets can reflect light in a very effective way, very similar to diamonds. And so a lot of species of garnets have amazing fire, scintillation, and sparkle, very similar to a diamond. And this of course is very unique and highly sought after. As mentioned, the most popular type of garnet is definitely the red garnet, and there are actually lots of different varieties of red garnets. The one that we spoke about before is most commonly referred to as in the trade as an Almandine garnet, which is that deep red kind of medieval feeling stone. Technically, it's actually a combination of the pyrope and almandine species, but again, we mostly refer to it as just almandine. Ideally, what you want to avoid in almandine garnets are areas of extinction, and these are basically areas that when you look at the gemstone, it remains very dark and shadowy because it's not able to reflect light back to your eye. So you lose that light reflection, which is going to make you miss that kind of sparkle and scintillation that any gemstone might have when it reflects light. And instead, it does remain that kind of darkish and near black color. So ideally you want, even in a deep red garnet, you still want to be able to see that beautiful red and deep raspberry color. On the opposite end of the spectrum, we have Rhodolite Garnets, which are another type of red garnet, but they tend to have a much more lighter, brighter kind of raspberry red appearance. So they can be a light purplish red to a very deep and beautiful berry red. They definitely have that saturation, but they're still bright in their appearance, which allows them to give that light reflection and beautiful sparkle. While red garnets were actually first found in the United States in North Carolina in the 1800s, now their most common sources are in East Africa, including Madagascar and Tanzania, as well as India and Sri Lanka. Orange garnets are quite fascinating because they used to be considered so rare that they really were only sought after by collectors because nobody else really knew about them. In the trade, we refer to them as spessartine garnets, and sometimes you'll also see some orange garnets labeled as Malaya garnets. Typically, this is what I would, think of as more of a pet name. It refers to very specific African garnet that sometimes has a padparachka sapphire type of beautiful sunrise color. But again, that's not a technical term and nothing is guaranteed when you use those types of trade names. After new discoveries were made in Africa of orange garnets, they definitely became more available, and so the public started to take notice of them, especially because orange gemstones, are not widely available. They're not as common as lots of other colors. So you have orange sapphires and fire opals, but in general, finding a beautiful orange gem is a little bit more uncommon. Orange garnets get their color from manganese as well as trace iron, and so depending on the combination and amounts of these elements, the color array of orange garnets is quite vast, similar to the flames that you see in a fire. And so there really is something for everyone. If you love these particular hues, you can find, something in a very light yellowish orange, very similar to like a beautiful peachy pink color, to a very fiery orange, deep red, brownish orange, brownish red. There really is something for everyone. Like most colored gems, the most valuable orange garnets are those with very intense saturated color and medium to medium dark tone. The orangish red, true fire-like colors tend to be the most valuable as well. And just like many other rare forms of garnet, orange garnets, while now becoming a little bit more popular, they're still considered very rare. And they're very difficult to find in very large sizes. And so when you have these very intense colored orange garnets in high quality large sizes, they're still extremely valuable and hard to find. As mentioned, spessartine garnets are mostly found in Africa in places such as Tanzania, Zambia, Namibia, and Madagascar, but they can also be found in California, Brazil, India, and Sri Lanka. The green garnet group, which includes the Savory and Demantoid varieties, is definitely the most valuable and sought after, and in their best qualities can definitely rival emerald as far as rarity and value. Demantoid garnet rose to popularity in the mid-1800s in Russia. It was found in the Ural Mountains of Russia and became very popular with the Russian royal family, the Romanovs, and a particular favorite of Tsar Nicholas II. Because of this, it was also very often used in creations by Fabergé at that time. And so, as you can imagine, it became very highly sought after because it was very much associated with the best of the best. Demantoid garnets get their gorgeous green color from trace amounts of chromium, and chromium is very rare. It's what makes rubies red and what was once considered the best of emeralds green. And so it also contains trace amounts of iron, and so that's why most Demantoid garnets have a little bit of a yellowish tinge. It's more of a yellowish green than a true verdant green. These garnets also have some other very unique traits. First of all, they're the only gem that can show trademark horsetail inclusions. This is a very unique type of inclusion, and it does look like a wisp of hair. It's a group of very, very, very fine linear inclusions, and when this is found in a Demantoid garnet, the cutter definitely cuts the gem in order to show this inclusion off instead of hide it. And it makes the gem that much more rare and valuable because it's just so unique, and a lot of collectors look for this type of inclusion in this garnet. As mentioned before, many garnets, because they're singly refractive, can have amazing light dispersion, and Demantoid garnet is probably the best example of that. They have amazing dispersion, fire, and sparkle, very similar to a diamond and sometimes even more than a diamond. So again, as you can imagine, this makes their color and fire and sparkle extremely eye-catching and very, very attractive to gem collectors and gem lovers. Unfortunately, of course, Demantoid garnets are very, very rare. They're one of the most rarest gemstones on Earth, and while they are still found in Russia, they can also be found in some other places such as Greece, Italy, and some places in Africa. Unfortunately, it's very difficult to find them in large sizes, even above a carat or even half a carat. And so that's why when you see jewelry that is using these types of garments, you often see them as very small accent stones, and even in very pave kind of intricate designs of that nature. But you don't often see, a large pendant or earrings or a ring with very large Demantoid garnets. And if you do, they are absolutely going to be very, very, very expensive. The second type of green garnet is Savory Garnet, and Savory Garnet wasn't actually discovered until the 1960s. And the biggest difference between these two is that Savorites are colored by trace vanadium, which some emeralds are also colored by, but it definitely can give it more of a true green to bluish green color hue, which is the most valuable, but they do often sometimes have that yellowish tint, similar to Demantoid Garnets. When it comes to both of these gems, when it comes to value, the biggest thing you want to look for is 0 traces of brown or brown tint. The yellowish or bluish or true green color is the most valuable, and you just don't want it to be darkened by that brownish color. Similar to emeralds that don't have enough color saturation in order to be considered true emeralds and are sometimes labeled as green beryl instead, Savory garnets that do not have that true green, beautiful saturation are sometimes called grossular garnets, and they'll be a very light toned kind of watercolory green color instead. Again, very similar to Demantoid Garnets, it's very hard to find Savorites in large, saturated, eye-clean sizes. And so they're very often used as beautiful accent stones or in those pave-like designs. While they can be found in Pakistan, they're most likely found in sources in Africa, including Madagascar, Kenya, and Tanzania. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please feel free to like it and subscribe and follow along as we learn more about gems and jewelry. If you have your own questions about gems and jewelry, feel free to leave it in the comments below and/or leave a comment on our Instagram page. Thank you so much.